you said you've been fighting and training for 22 years. I've been training for 12, fighting for like 11, 10, and I feel like I go in the gym and learn something new every other day. Like you're never not learning when you go into a gym. That's why I always encourage people to get involved in some sort of martial art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that. You realize that that journey never ends because there's no end point to that progression. There's no point you get to and be like, oh, I'm really great now. I'm like, you're never great. You're good, and like how much it takes just to stay at the level that you're at is so much, you know. And then it just the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything. It's like the higher up you get, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah, sometimes I'm in the gym and I'm thinking to myself, have I like forgot more than I even know now? Because we do that many different things, you know what I mean? I'm striking, I'm wrestling, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I'm grappling. Like, it's the amount of different things. In fact, you'll understand, you've fought MMA, haven't you?
Yeah, I had one MMA fight, I've had boxing fights, I had 2 Sanshao fights, kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights. It was one of those things like I just knew that you need to stay active and busy, and when I was coming up, it was impossible for me to get fights, especially once I hit a certain level in this country. There was just no one for me to fight anymore, and that's why I was fighting people that were like 30 pounds heavier than me. I was taking boxing fights on 2 days' notice. I was just like, I need to fight. I need to stay active. I need to keep progressing, and the only way to do that is to stay in there. You know, it's like you can only do so much in the gym. It doesn't matter. You can train this sport for 20 years, but until you actually get in the ring, you don't know anything. We have this false sense of our ability levels till you get tested in the fire, you know, and then it's like, all right, well, that was that person. It's like the people they become the best in the gym and they think that's like an accomplishment. Like, yeah, well, it depends where you set your bar. Like, you're the best in the gym, all right, now you're the best in the state, then you're the best in the country, then the best in the world, and like then the best of all time. And that's kind of where I always set my bar, was the greatest fighters of all time. That's where I'm looking to. And I'm like, I'm never going to be there. So everything I'm doing is to get closer to that goal as I can. I never felt like I accomplished anything or was like, oh, I beat this person, now I'm great. I never felt that way. I always maintained that day one mentality. And that's what kept me motivated and pushing all these years is the fact that I never did feel like I accomplished anything. You know, looking back, I'm like, yeah, I did a lot of stuff, but you know, it's like one starting so late was always a big motivator for me. It's like not starting until I was 23. I was like, I like wasted so much of my life because I was afraid. Like, think of how much farther I could have been if I didn't wait this long to start. So it was always that, like, trying to play catch up. Every time I was in the gym, it was like 100% I'm focused on this moment in and out of the gym as well. You know, it's not just the moments you're training, it's what are you doing on the outside too.
Yeah, I can know exactly what you mean with that one as well, because I'd done it myself for years. I was going out partying all the time and then coming in the gym. I was burning the candle at both ends in it when I was younger, leading up. I sort of missed out like when I was like 22, 23, but leading up to that point, I was just out every weekend doing stupid stuff, drinking, partying, and it ended up catching up with me, you know what I mean? And I was struggling to make weight, and I lost a fight or two, and I always put that down to being an idiot and going out, and like, at least you got that out of your system, you know what I mean? That was all out of your system. You didn't have to worry about it then.
That was actually the very beneficial thing about starting so late, was I got all that out of the way. It was like all that stuff. You know, I mean, a lot of people, when they start when they're young, they have to go through that process as they're training, and it can be really difficult, and you do end up wasting a lot of time. Where once I started, I was completely focused on getting better, knowing how much of my life I did wasted. I had no time to piss off or you know, it's like after a fight, I was right back in the gym right away. I never took breaks ever. And everybody else that did, I kind of saw their lack of progression, because, you know, they would fight, they would do really well, and then they would disappear for a month and then come back. And like, you're always trying to play catch up to where you were. You know, it's like I always use that analogy. It's like we're on a train. As soon as you step off, that train keeps going. Now you're trying to get back on it and get back to where you were. So the longer you get off that train, the farther back you're going to be, and the less progression you're going to have. So I was always moving, even during injuries and stuff. It was like there's always something that you can do. I think the problem is when injuries happen, when losses happen, and difficulties happen, we stop progressing because we completely step away from it, where like you can always work on your mind, you can always work on like your flexibility, you can always work on your conditioning. It's not like you have to grind in the gym day in and day out, because there's so much more that can be done to help you progress than just doing this really difficult thing. And as I developed, I kind of started to understand how much more there is to it than just that work in the gym.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there, because I've had 3 wrist surgeries, to be honest, and
yeah,
like when I've had them, I've just had to work around. I've had to come in the gym and kick and just use the other hand, and obviously you can't grapple with it and stuff, but I could still kick, I could knee, I could elbow, I could throw my other hand, and you just have to work around it, as you say, don't you? And I think personally, as you just said, mentally it helps a lot, because it knows you can push through anything. If you can get in the gym and train and work your ass off when you've got an injury, then no one can stop you in a fight if you've got the mental capacity for that.
Yeah, without question, man. And it's like when I think because of that, like when I blew my knee out and had my knee surgery, I think just that mentality and just getting right back in the gym, it's like your blood flowing's a little bit, your mentality's a little bit better. That helped me heal that much quicker. I went from the day of my surgery to the day of my fight was, I think it was 9 months and 1 week. And so after blowing my ACL out, and I mean, that was pretty fast. And so much of that was just because of my mindset and my willingness to work, even though there was this injury that happened. There's always something that you can do, even if you're like stuck in a bed and like a full body cast. Like your mind can still work. You can still not use this external thing as a reason to quit. And so much of that is applicable to all things in life. You know, we all look at these unfair circumstances, and we think we're like everything's over or the world's against us. But what can you be doing right now? There's always something that you can be doing in the moment, no matter how bad things are.